What's up, allies? We are back. It's Jim, it's Larry, it's the 80s Allies podcast.
Where have you been?
What do you mean, where have I been?
I've been sitting here for a week. I smell, I haven't had anything to eat, I haven't changed my clothes.
Well, whose fault's that?
Yours?
Why is that my fault?
You told me, okay, I'll be right back, stay right there, and so I did.
I don't even know what to say about this. So I assume this means you've missed the announcement then regarding the Transformers cartoon coming to Netflix.
Oh no, I have my phone.
Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, we did find out some breaking news, which was absolutely fantastic. Netflix is doing it again. They're bringing back another iconic, it has to be iconic at this point, another iconic franchise. Transformers, the Fall of Cybertron,
right,
is going to be in all its glory on Netflix.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it.
Oh, I'm hyped.
Even though I know there were some people that were, because I heard some response to it on some of the forums I'm on, and people were sort of like, well, gee, there's no Peter Cullen, there's no Frank Welker, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I kind of get that. I mean, you know, I'm sure they're not 100% certain how well it's going to do. Budgetary concerns. Those two guys, make no mistake about it, you hire voice actors of that caliber, they've been around a long time.
They can command their own price at this point.
Absolutely. So, you know, from a budgetary standpoint, it may not have made a lot of sense. So no, I get it.
These are two of the biggest voices of the 1980s as far as cartoons go.
Even beyond cartoons, sure, without a doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, because you're talking, you know, Peter, King Kong, Predator, you know, and Frank.
Everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What has Frank not done?
Yeah.
So you know, yeah, they definitely command a good bit of money.
But what I saw and what got me really, really excited is some of the footage that they released. I mean, they released the trailer. It looks exactly like the 1980s robots. Not a new fandangled version of Optimus Prime. Not a new fandangled version of Megatron. They're sticking to the core.
Yeah, it's very much a fan service, I would say. And because I know you're not overly familiar with the modern toys.
No.
It is a direct connection to the current line of collector's toys that Hasbro has been putting out for some time. So the characters that you're seeing, that you saw on screen during that, I already have the toys for, and that have been out for a while. So the Ultra Magnus and those guys, you know, the toys are out and they look identical to the toys. So it's really a great tie-in, and I'm sure it's there to sell product. But
well, I know I'm familiar with you picking up those toys.
Yeah.
When we went to a wholesaler, and you said, "Hey, stand here with these three things. I'm gonna go get a cart."
You know what? And we should probably, you know, since we've already, you know, broke the news and we've talked about it. You're excited. I'm excited for the show.
Oh, very much so.
But we live in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Now that probably means nothing to most people, but if you're a Transformers toy collector, you probably are thinking to yourself, hey, why does that sound familiar? And the reason it does is because a few months ago, right before Christmas, Hasbro, one of their distribution centers, had an event at a building not too far from here.
It was an expo center.
Yeah, what are we, about a mile from there, maybe?
Not even that.
It's not even a mile from where we're literally sitting right now. And we went to it.
If you're familiar, may I?
Yeah, please do. Yeah, go ahead.
Just go ahead and swing that bat. We living in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Some of you might know if you're into cars or trucks. It's particularly very famous for their car shows. Yeah. The Corvette show is here. The Ford Nationals is here.
Some of the largest car shows in the world are held right here.
Are held right here, and people go on vacation here for them. The Expo Center gets opened up so they can feature some of the more fancy Dan, high-end vehicles.
They do auctions there.
They do auto auctions there. As far as the West, or not the West Coast, but the East Coast go, it's an automotive heaven for those people who are in the area.
Sure.
So they decided to open their doors for Hasbro.
Yeah, and the thing was, it wasn't very well publicized. I found out about it literally probably the week before. It happened to come up in my Facebook feed.
And then you sent me the link, and I was like, hey, yeah.
We should go.
Let's go.
I have just the slightest bit of footage that I caught there. I'll go ahead and I'll feed in here at some point that you guys can take a look at, if in fact you're watching us on YouTube. If you're not, and you're listening to us on some other listening service, you may want to go ahead and check us out on YouTube to see some video.
Or what you can do is you can close your eyes
and just imagine,
dream that you're there.
Sure, but
do this while you're in traffic.
Right, absolutely. No, don't do that. Good Lord. So, in any case,
don't come to me for advice.
Well, no, probably not. But what happened? We went to the event. Now, by the time we got there, it was about 1 in the afternoon, if I remember right.
Yeah.
2-day event, opened at 10. We were there by 1. Some of the stuff was already sold out.
Which was fine. We kind of expected it to be.
Yeah. Here's what transpired. By the afternoon, it had got out to the general community. By community, I mean collecting community. That this event was going on because there were several toys there that were harder to find at retail or were expensive at retail and were ultimately very inexpensive here. Most notably for Transformers fans was Omega Supreme. The toy is $150+ at retail. They were selling them at $20.
Here's the thing.
Here's the funny thing. Well, while we were there, I asked one of the gentlemen that was working the show, what gives? What was going on? And this is the story that I got. Apparently, there's a distribution center for Hasbro here in the Carlisle area, which I did not know prior to this. And what happens is sometimes when stores receive the order, they refuse to take ownership of it because the exterior box is damaged or what have you. They're afraid the toy inside might be damaged, and they're not willing to take receipt of it because then it becomes their problem.
I'm looking around to see if I have a box I can demonstrate with, but I do
But you don't. But so what happens is this then goes back to the distribution center, which then has no use for it because what are they supposed to do with it? The boxes inside are not damaged, the toys are not damaged, it's just the shipping box. So they end up sitting with all these toys that they don't know what to do with. And apparently the idea came about that what if we would do a sale like this right before Christmas, offer parents an opportunity to get some toys on the cheaper side, help out some families, what have you, and even if we make a few bucks on the dollar for these things, who cares? They were going to go in the trash anyway, so a good opportunity. So they come and they set this thing up, and this was the first time they've done this. Hasbro's never done this anywhere else. This was a test to see how well it went. Well,
this is what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jim and I show up, and we're like, oh, hey, let's go check this stuff out.
Scalpers went crazy. That's what happened.
We walked down the first aisle. The first aisle, it's got board games. And I picked up a pretty decent, I never had Risk in my life. And Risk for $5, yeah, I'll throw down $5 for Risk. It was great. We turn the corner. We see the Transformers stuff. That's where you found the Optimus Prime.
Omega Supreme.
The Omega Supreme. The My Little Ponies. Some Star Wars action figures.
There were Star Wars action figures. There were some of the high-end lightsabers.
That was on the second
specifically, it was Darth Maul's. They sold out while we were there, as did Omega Supreme.
They also had Kylo Ren's lightsaber.
Yeah, and they had the big helmets, the full-size Stormtrooper helmets.
They had a bunch of Nerf stuff, which is amazing if you're a kid. And then they had a bunch of Marvel action figures.
Yeah, a ton of them.
And the issue with and this is the issue that we're getting to, is they had all these wonderful toys and things for children. And if you are kind of, the world has a wonderful way of just like kicking you in the butt right before Christmas.
Yeah.
So we're seeing families go in there trying to stretch as much as they can to give their kids a good Christmas.
But scalpers.
On the other side, we have guys, grown men like us, going through the toys and just putting as much product as they possibly can on carts.
On a skid, not on like a pushing cart, but on one of those big things like you see at Lowe's or something to haul lumber. They were loading those things up. Now, this is the stupid part. The stupid part is that if you know anything about toys, you know which ones are worth money and which ones aren't. Omega Supreme, which again there were 5 there when we got there. I took 3, and I left 2 for the guy behind me. I could have taken all 5. I didn't do that because I'm not a jerk. But I left those for him. They were gone, okay? The stuff that was worth money was already gone. But these guys were taking, and they were common figures. Mm-hmm. They're having a hard time getting retail cost out of them, let alone anything else. And they're buying so many that I couldn't figure out why they were doing it. They think it's going to be worth something, but the problem was their behavior was very, very offensive, to say the least. And then on top of it, it really irritated Hasbro, who rightfully so,
easily,
was trying to do a good thing, and it kind of blew up in their face. By the time I got back there the second day, and I went to pick up something for a mutual friend of ours as a 5-year-old little girl, and I went to pick up one of these Descendant dolls that apparently is very hard to find at retail. They had a bunch of them there, and I went to buy one for Celia, and by the time I got to the second day...
No name dropping on our show.
Well, you know. there were tons of signs up. You can only have this much of this, and this much of that, and this much of this, and the guys were talking back and forth, and they were very irritated because what some of these guys were doing is they
going
weren't
behind the table and taking stuff.
Yeah, they weren't content to take the stuff that was on the table. They were trying to sneak back behind the table where they had these pallets filled with boxes and literally take the boxes filled with toys, and they're like, "Whoa! What are you doing? No, you're not doing that." You know.
Well, one of the disparaging parts for me is I was looking at the Marvel sets, right? Like, okay, cool, I can get in a complete Marvel set, 5 guys, which is what you needed for that block. And I'm going through the block, and what's missing is the key character for that block. It was like, if it's a Wolverine block, Wolverine's missing. All right? Too easy. If it's a Deadpool block, Deadpool's missing. Too easy. Spider-Man block, same thing. It's like they've already been cherry-picked by collectors instead of buying the block of 5, which you need.
Which would have been great for kids.
To complete the set so you can have big-time fun. And at $5 a pop... At $25, you got 5 figures. You can have all sorts of fun.
So whether or not there's going to be another one of these, guys, that's the story. That's a story from someone who lives here and what happened. Whether or not there's going to be another one of these, I don't know. I really don't. I think it was a minority of people. Don't misunderstand me, but that minority of people was behaving so badly that I don't know that Hasbro will do this again. I pray that they do, because it did help out a lot of families here locally who were struggling. But if they don't, I'll completely understand why, and that's the sad part of it. But you know, as it stands, you know, they needed to pay the bills. So do we. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for an exciting night of wrestling action for a good cause? Superstar Wrestling once again joins with the Muscular Dystrophy Association to bring you Never Quit 3, a fight to end muscular dystrophy. Saturday, April 18th, 2020 at Turf Time Athletics in Carlisle. A double main event will first see the crown jewel Tyler Ash attempt to unseat SSW heavyweight champion, the Vile Lord Sleazus. Then, the Ace of Hearts, Jason Valentine, and fellow Cross Corporation member Ian Drake Esquire will attempt to stop the reign of terror of the Society of Madnesses, Prince Shango, and the Madness of Trip in a tag team casket match where both members of the team must be stuffed in a casket to win the match. In other action, 2 monsters of the Squared Circle will battle for the SSW Two Rivers Championship as 7 feet tall, 400 pounds of bulletproof Dorian Black, along with Diamond Dex Cross in his corner, will valiantly defend against 300 plus pounds of the Intimidator Robert Wright, with Corey Cross in his corner under hardcore rules. Plus, the 40-man over-the-top rope Rudy Rumble, the Tag Team Championships defended in a gauntlet match, and a tables, Legos, and chairs match, plus much more. Tickets are only $15, with every dime raised going to the MDA. So join us Saturday, April 18th at Turf Time Athletics, 419 East High Street in Carlisle. Doors are at 5, pre-show at 5:30, and bell time at 6. For tickets, call 717-443-2593, and we will see you at ringside.
And speaking of people preying on the collector's market, Toy Fair just happened.
It did!
And now, not to prey on the collector's market, because believe it or not, I actually like Toy Fair as opposed to these jackanapes, because Toy Fair runs by a separate set of rules.
Well, Toy Fair is it absolutely does. You and I can't even get into Toy Fair.
Right.
Toy Fair is a trade show, and in its history, it was designed so that retailers could go see the wares that were being peddled by the different toy companies, and of course make buying decisions about what was going to be at retail for that year. Some toys in the history of Toy Fair have never made it past Toy Fair.
No.
Because if they didn't get enough purchases or enough interest, they just, that was the end of it. So, it's a really important event for the toy industry. It took place just from in the time we're filming this past weekend, and a lot came out from it. We saw a lot of things. We saw the new Masters of the Universe line that's going to be set to hit this fall sometime. The figures look fantastic.
They do. They really do. Very
well articulated, very well made. They clearly look like they will fit in right with your old toys. And, I think the nice part about that is that, much like we were talking about earlier with, helping out families, hey, look, if you got kids and you still have your old He-Man stuff in the attic, you can buy some of these new figures, and maybe you can kind of hand them your Castle Grayskull, and they can kind of play with it from when you were a child, because, again, the scale works, and so there's no reason they can't.
Well, what I saw, what really lit me up, well, there were two objects. We'll start with the first one being the Ghostbusters line. They're coming out with 3 different Ghostbusters.
They are. You've got the retro Kenner line that is essentially, I'm assuming they're reusing the molds from Kenner.
Oh, yeah, they are, because I looked at the blister packs. You got the arm that moves, the leg that moves, and the head that moves. So it's like 5 points of articulation.
It is absolutely the first wave of the old Kenner line. Now, what I do not know is if they're planning to go any further than that. My suspicions are that it's an anniversary type thing. They're going to put out that first wave, and that's it. The second thing that they're doing...
And I'd be totally good with that. Yeah. You get the 4 characters, you get a Slimer, you get... Stay Puft, and that's it. Yeah. 2... they're not preying on the collectors that much.
No, but then you also have another collector's line that is essentially... It is the boys, it's Dana Barrett, Zool, and... Or not Zool, excuse me. Gozer as the girl. And then if you get all of the figures, you can build a Terror Dog. I guess it's like there's pieces of the Terror Dog in each of the boxes. And those look ultra realistic. And they look really, really good. They do look good. Then there's this third line, which is sort of bizarre. Yeah. I don't even know what to say about it. It's sort of inspired in a sort of way by the old Kenner line, in the sense that each of the guys comes with a little ghost and stuff like that, but it looks like a cartoon. Now, I am not aware of any other cartoon that's set to come out for this. I don't know if there is, and we're just not aware of it yet.
But if there is, it'll be on Netflix with all the other ones.
Probably. The stuff looked good, but I'm not real sure where it fits in or what have you. But yeah, 3 Ghostbusters lines that we can expect in the next 12 months.
But that is not the toy line that excited me. The toy line that excited me was they took the Batman animated series and produced props.
Yeah, they sure did.
So now you can go out and you can get a Batman animated series Batarang. You can get the pistol with the cork in it that Harley Quinn used. Mm-hmm. The line looks like it just came straight out of the cartoon. I am so excited for that line.
Sort of harkens back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It does.
Remember when Eddie Valiant has the Toon gun with the bullets in it and everything? Yeah.
Which way did he go? I think he went that way.
One of my favorite moments in movie history. I don't know why. It just tickles me to death when those bullets come in. When he yells dum-dums and throws the thing down.
Well, one of the most iconic scenes that I remember is when he threw the whiskey bottle in the air and shot it. Yeah. And the Native American came, which I
couldn't do that today.
You can't do that today.
That movie is really important to me. It's the last film I saw with my grandmother before she died.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it means a lot. We'll talk about my grandmother a lot on this show because there's a lot of memory I have of her, and it's always connected to this stuff.
Roger Rabbit is probably going to be one of the things that we discuss on this show.
In depth, I would imagine.
Very much so.
It was really, really something in its day. It really, really was. And I think it holds up pretty well today, actually, if you watch it.
As far as I'm concerned, it does, considering when it took place and who was all in it, and it is timeless. I would like to see a digital... I'm saying the naughty word now.
Don't you dare.
I know. A digital copy Not from the original.
I'm pained.
I know, so am I. But it because of the 80s, it would flesh out some of the cartoons and add to the background.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to go over reboots and whatnot later. Was there anything else from the Toy Fair that you saw that was really interesting?
Well, there was, and we're gonna touch on this now. We're gonna be getting into it our next podcast in greater detail. But let's talk about Star Wars for a minute. Hasbro had a lot of Star Wars stuff, and a good bit of it was dedicated to The Mandalorian, which you've seen, I've seen. Don't worry, there's not going to be any spoilers here if you haven't seen it yet. Because there's no way this is a spoiler anymore by the way he's out there.
Yeah.
The child makes an enormous appearance throughout these toys. He's everywhere. And for those of you who are not familiar with, the child is Baby Yoda. Okay. Baby Yoda is not the correct description for him. He's known as the child. That just sort of became a thing because he doesn't.
He's a 50-year-old man.
Well, no, he's a 50-year-old, whatever the heck it is.
He's a 50-year-old man, is what that is.
Well, they age differently, now. But in any event, what we know is now that finally there's going to be toys. They're set to hit in the fall. And the big toy that I saw, and this is the one where this is a little bit of foreshadowing. We're gonna go into great detail on this next show. But I'm telling you right now, that life-size one that coos and moves and the ears do, and it does the Force and.
It does the Force?
Oh, yeah. The hand comes up and the eyes close and it...
Does it work?
I have probably not, but
Dude, if that thing actually came up with the Force, and I was in the 3rd grade, I'd have to buy one and then, we are not going to do homework.
Right, yeah. But it looks pretty cool. I'm wondering what that means for retail. We're going to talk about that next time for sure. But that was the other thing that really stuck out to me at Toy Fair. That really came across. The other thing, and it wasn't as big a thing to me, but I have to say that we do need to just give a mention to the fact that because we mentioned it at our last show, that McFarlane Toys has received the rights to do DC Universe stuff. And I saw a couple of those pieces, and wow. I mean, it's typical of what you would expect from McFarlane. Incredible detail, great toys. Yeah, McFarlane Toys, they're gonna have these out there. I'm sure they're gonna be fantastic. And I know one of the characters they showed, I was not familiar with it. It was a version of Superman that's some kind of robotic thing or whatever, but he said he was in one book for 4 panels, and there's never been a toy of him, so they decided to do it because he looks so toy-like. I mean, it was perfect for a toy. So that's the kind of attitude they're taking with it, and they're going through really different things. So I think for collectors, it's a really, really good thing, and I think they'll really, really like it.
One thing that always impressed me with Todd McFarlane's toys is they aren't really toys; they're works of art.
They really are, very much so. Yeah.
And that being said, with this work of art, we need to pay somebody off so we can keep doing this piece.
True.
So we're going to go take care of that right now, and we'll be right back.
Gentlemen, looking for a classic haircut or shave in the Carlisle area? Stop into Big Daddy's Barbershop and Shave Parlor and experience that old-time feel you've been missing. Get a straight razor shave, haircut, or facial massage, or, hey, spoil yourself and get all 3. We're located at 1548 Spring Road in Carlisle, right beside Brad's Pizza, and appointments are never needed. Spend some time in a true man zone and relive the shops of yesteryear amongst the modern-day hustle and bustle at Big Daddy's Barbershop. Find us on Facebook or visit our website at www.bigdaddysbarbershop.com.
We're back, allies.
It's odd that the commercial that we just saw brings a striking resemblance of somebody who's sitting right next to me.
Oh, it does not.
Oh, it totally does. I wish I had something to hawk.
Hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do.
You do got to. So
I got bills to pay.
You
man.
do have bills to pay, and you were able to embark on a trip that I was unable to go with.
Yes,
but you were able to take one of our good, close, personal friends.
Yes,
who you will get to know, but we aren't going to reveal exactly who he is just yet.
Yeah, he'll be on the show sometimes here. But yeah, recently. he and I took a Sunday, and we just went toy hunting. And in the process, we drove about an hour from where I'm sitting to a little place called Taneytown, Maryland. Taneytown, however you pronounce it. Have you ever been there?
Taneytown, Maryland?
Yeah, you blink, it's gone.
Yeah, it's got two signs. One sign says you are now entering. The other sign says you're now leaving.
Yeah, it's a small place. It's pretty much right across the border, pretty much from Pennsylvania. But it is home to a little place called Eternia Dreams, which is a toy store. You can find them on Facebook. I'll put their information in the description box so that you can check them out. I got to tell you that the pictures really do not do the place justice in terms of the scale, in terms of how much this guy has. While I was there, I mean, the guy had 2 USS flags. He had 4 that I counted Eternia play sets, which is a very rare toy for the Masters of the Universe line.
And the USS flag is the largest play set to scale.
It's huge. It really, really is. And he had 2 of them. One had the box. So just a really, really, really cool place. And while we're there, the guy is telling us that he does a lot of video, or a lot of live video on Facebook and stuff, where he'll actually run like a sale or an auction or what have you. In any case, it's a really, really great place. If you're anywhere nearby, I encourage you to check it out. If you're not nearby, I encourage you to check out the guy on Facebook. And, you know, we're definitely going to try to highlight some of these places, and hopefully, I spoke with the guy a little bit about what we were planning to do, and I'm hopeful that we can go down there and actually do a live broadcast with him from there, or perhaps tour the store. So look for that in the future on the channel.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have for this week.
Absolutely.
One thing we want to keep you notified is April 5th. For the first time ever, we're going to be coming to you live.
Yes.
Via the Facebook page that somebody still needs to set up. And I'm going to just be straight up honest with you. We were waiting for our logo.
Yeah, it was. It was all the technicality stuff getting started.
Because we have such a wonderful logo, which was drawn for us by a wonderful man named Jim LaPlante. Once you see the logo, you understand.
Shout out to Jim.
Yes, definitely shout out to Jim. Jim's run my life for some reason. I don't know why. Jim's and Jess's. It's the J's, I tell you.
It's amazing.
The J's. But we were waiting for the logo to be made. We were waiting for the logo to be purchased. The logo is now officially made and purchased.
Yes. So, by all means, look down in the description box. Find us on Facebook. Like us and get ready for that live broadcast. It might be... I guess we could. Well, it will be wrestling based.
Will it be wrestling based?
Could be.
Because that's happening on a Sunday.
Yeah, could be.
I wonder what happens in April on a Sunday.
It's something big, if I remember.
Something tremendous.
Yes.
What the?
Well, in any case,
showcasing immortals.
Yes.
And whatnot.
In any case, pay attention to that. We'll be back with you for more stuff here soon enough. So for Larry, this is Jim. Hang in there, allies. We'll see you soon.
Until next time.